Cowboys are a 5.5-point home favorite against Baker Mayfield and the Browns, according to Fox Bet this Sunday at 1 Eastern on Fox. So, Shannon, who wins this game?
Well, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I'm glad we have it right here on Fox. I think we're in the early window, too, aren't we, Skip? So, you know what, Skip? The Cowboys' defense is the problem. It's been a problem. And I'm seeing something, and I think you're seeing it also, Skip. I want to know, because you say, why do the Cowboys keep getting off to these slow starts? And you blame Jason Garrett for all these years. You blame Jason Garrett, and yet they still get off to these slow starts. Are you still blaming Jason Garrett?
You got a cold?
Now they're a little chilly. I mean, they got the fan. They got the fan. I got my little fan going, you know, my little fan going right here.
Jason Garrett has turned around the New York football Giants.
Still, they're bad.
They are really, they're on fire.
They need to do some more wind sprints.
Somebody needs to put the fire out.
They need to do some more wind sprints.
Right.
They ain't running enough for those mistakes they're making. The Cowboys' defense is a problem. And they're probably going to have to win the majority of their games, Skip, by shootouts. Unfortunately, they got to stop falling behind and sometimes play from the lead. Skip, you know Dak has only thrown 2 touchdown passes this season with the lead? 2. And he's put up some phenomenal numbers. But from the most part, it's been coming from behind.
When have they been in the lead? I can't even believe that. I didn't even know that. I was like, when did that happen?
I think for a few. Well, at the end of the game against Atlanta, and I think they had to lead briefly. They had to lead briefly against Seattle also. And then, you know, Russ came in and worked his magic on them. I like this, and I know Baker said, you know, if it has to be a shootout, it'll be a shootout, yada, yada, yada. But if I'm Cleveland, I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to not make it a shootout. This game needs to come through Chubb. Chubby needs to be the sole beneficiary. He needs 30 carries. Now, Kareem Hunt was a little dinged with an injury. I don't know the extent of did he practice or not, or what's going to be his status for Sunday. But this needs to be a Nick Chubb, a Kareem Hunt type of a ball game. And then because Dallas is explosive offensively. I'm not denying that. And a team that's explosive offensively, you see what they try to do, Skip. Let's try to possess the football. Let's try to minimize their opportunity, because it's hard to be explosive when you only got the ball for 25, 26 minutes in the game. So the Browns are going to need to run the football, control the clock, possess the football, and hopefully get a timely possession. So with that, Cleveland has the number 5 rush defense, number 6 in yards per carry. So Skip, I love Cleveland chances. Plus the fact that you gave me 6 points. Tyron Smith, limited participation. That's going to be very interesting, Skip. The Myles Garrett against Knight, the left tackle. He kind of looked bad, especially that last drive, because that was a 3-man rush, and they got I think a sack, 2 sacks, and maybe a hit on Dak. That's unacceptable. Myles Garrett is licking his chops. I'm going to take the Browns to win this game, 29-26.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I shouldn't give you any points.
Oh, you're too late though.
Well, you just picked Cleveland outright to win the game. So I think the points are off the table.
Dude.
You don't have the courage of your convictions?
I like having these numbers. I like having these numbers to play with. Skip, you know how it is. You're like, okay, you got a few numbers. You go buy a house. Or you understand, came by here. You gave the realtor, say, okay. And she's like, well, we found this guy, so we got a few dollars to move here or there. So yeah, that's what I do. I got a few dollars to play with.
You got a few.
I got 6 points to play with.
By the way, Fox Bet says it's 5.5 right now. So I'll give you 5.5.
You gave me 6.
Oh.
You gave me 6.
Oh, so you're gonna welch on it,
Hold on. What the Skip Bet says.
Skip Bet says it's a 5.5-point game.
Too late.
Okay. I stand by what I told you earlier this week.
Okay.
I believe with all my heart and soul, my Cowboys will win this game and win it decisively.
Oh, really?
And I also believe with all my heart and soul, they had better win this game or I'm off the bandwagon.
Oh, no. I ain't let you off.
I explained to you that obviously they can back into the division title with ease this year, even easier than last year, because Carson Wentz has turned into W-I-N-C-E, ouch, as in close to losing his job. They play at San Francisco. They're 7-point underdog. I don't believe they can win that game. I could be surprised, but I don't believe they will win it.
Okay.
The Giants are a hopeless, hapless underdog. And Washington, the Washington football team plays Baltimore coming off a loss, and that they are going to want some, there's going to be blood in their eyes, okay? So my point is that I'm pretty sure all 3 other, leastern, NFC least, are going to lose.
Okay.
So the Cowboys will have cushion. There'll be no urgency except from me. because if they are legit, if they are going to slowly morph into an actual NFC contender.
What you believe they are.
Yes, which I thought they were going into this season, then it needs to start now. Because if they lose at home to the Cleveland Browns, it's just devastating. It will wreck what's left of their psyche because they should have lost to Atlanta. Robbie, it took a minor miracle, right?
Yes.
And that would mean they should be 0-4. You could make that case if they lose to the Browns.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to make that case because I'm going to hang on to what happened last year 3 times at home when I least expected it because they hadn't demonstrated this kind of firepower to me otherwise. But do you remember what happened when Philly visited the first time on that Sunday night, I believe it was?
Yes.
It was 27-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yes.
It wound up 37-10 Dallas. They jumped right out to a 14-0 lead, and I sat back and said, voila, there it is. Mm-hmm. That's the team that I believe in, right?
Yeah.
And then you know what started to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Then when you least expected it, fairly late in the year, heading up to the Philly game, after they'd stunk it up at New England, they come home to play a Rams team that had just owned them, they had won there and beaten them in the playoffs out here in Southern California and LA at the Coliseum. And what happened in that game? It was 28-7 Dallas at half. I know the Rams were starting to reel a little bit and a couple of wheels were about to come off, but Dallas won that game 44-21, and I saw firepower. I saw nuclear weapons.
That was you saw, huh? Okay.
And then to cap the year, Washington came to Dallas, and I know they were pretty pathetic, but Dallas just jumped all over them, opened up a 20-3 lead, and Dak threw a party, and it wound up 47-16. And I said, well, there it was. That's what it should have been all year long, and instead that made them 8-8.
Okay.
They're heading toward 8-8 again, unless they go north from this game. This is the key game. This is north or south. This is do or die to me. And it's not for, again, they could win the NFC least by default.
Yeah.
They could be a counterfeit, fraudulent playoff team that will lose at home in the first game to some New Orleans who'll come in and just blow them off their own field. I don't want to see that. That hurts me. I'd rather them miss the playoffs than have to watch them get humiliated at